I think for me, it's really more about the glue that I'm using and the lash that I'm using. So on the lash side, if the lash doesn't come off the tray easily and the shape of the lash gets all gross from pulling it off the tray, there's glue residue on there, I have to really yank the lashes off the tray, it changes the sort of shape of the band. I'm not interested in that. Glue side, for me, the glue has to be tacky and dry very quickly. So Original Duo, no thank you, do not want it, don't even want to look at it. The Duo Quick Set adhesive, I think it's called, is great. V by Velour lash glues, both dry, extremely tacky. So I'll grab the lash off the tray. I usually have a little bit of glue on the back of my hand. Sometimes I use the tray, so I don't have a particular process for that. And I just let the glue get like 99% dry. Sometimes I have a hand fan that I just put down on my station and that keeps going. So I'll dip the cluster into glue and then I'll hold it over the lash fan and then apply so it sticks right on the lash line. That's the process that works for me. I can list off some correctors for you that will work well under silicone-based products. Danessa Meyerick's Color Fix you can use as a corrector. Tarte Shape Tape has some really great correctors. NARS has a couple of correctors. I wouldn't recommend the Becca ones. I just find the texture's weird and the color's not pigmented enough. I think the LA Girl ones I've used under concealer, silicone-based concealer and foundation, just not so much because that stuff is really, really thick. But those are ones that you can try. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've missed anything else. Oh yes, the Senna palette, the corrector palette, works really well under silicone-based foundations. If you're ever not sure, use ChatGPT, copy and paste the ingredient list of the adjusters or correctors that you're going to be using, put it into ChatGPT and just ask what the base is of the product that you're using or you're interested in using, and that will help you kind of sort this out. But I think those are ones that I would recommend, have used, that work well under silicone-based foundations. There is definitely going to be a difference in how foundations sit on the skin based on the base of the foundation, the entire formulation of the foundation. So this is where that trial and error piece comes in. I was talking about this a little bit last week. You do have to try certain things. What works for me may not work for you. My preference generally is silicone-based. I love the NARS light reflecting foundation, but on some skin types, it just doesn't sit as well as a silicone-based foundation like Face Atelier, for example. So my preference is silicone-based. All of the products that I use in my kit, aside from like RCMA, MAC Concealer, and some of the more old school products, are all self-setting silicone-based products, so everything works together. And that's just what works for me and my preferred style and how I like the makeup to sit on the skin. So I love NARS light reflecting foundation. However, it's not great for all skin types. There isn't really one foundation that's going to do everything, be the right color range, right for all skin types. It's really hard to find one product. So try a few different things, but longevity-wise, I don't find a difference. How you do this and the products that you use are really going to be dependent on each individual client. And of course, color theory is going to be your best friend when you're doing this. So for me, I usually see a lot of people who have sun damage on the chest, not so much on the face. So I will take the undertone of the damage and I'll take into consideration how dark the sun damaged area is on the skin. And I'll bring those undertones and depth of color onto the perimeter of the face. So that helps bridge the gap sometimes. If the sun damage is more on the skin, that's where I usually get into maybe a fuller coverage concealer. I'll make use of the complementary color relationship on the color wheel. So I will look at the discoloration, I'll look at the undertone, I'll use a corrector that is complement to the undertone of the discoloration or the sun damage on the skin, help to neutralize that, and then I'll apply my foundation over top. So those are just a couple of the ways, but color theory is going to be your best friend for this. This is a good question because this is not new. These are my clients that make these. This is how I make my money with this type of person. So for me, clients that have come to me with this request in the past, usually once I chat with them a little bit and discuss where they're coming from with what they want for their makeup, they're a bit confused about what a no makeup look is, which is, this happens all the time if you're somebody that does natural makeup looks as a makeup artist. But also they have found in their own use of makeup that they don't like the way foundation looks on their skin. So usually with a little bit of digging, and I ask a lot of questions of these clients, it's that they want the look of having maybe a little bit of concealer, some highlighter, cream blush, but they don't want the traditional foundation contour bronzer. It's on the skin. They want the skin to look like a second skin. So these are people I work personally with all the time, especially with bridal. A lot of my clients are like this. So oftentimes you have to take a little more time to get to the bottom of what that means when they say they don't want any foundation, and give them a look that reads like a second skin. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I don't know if I'm not going to be able to probably get this across in just one Instagram story, but I have talked to friends that I've had in the industry, some who have been working longer than I have. We've talked about this because a lot of people are quick to label themselves pro makeup artists, celebrity makeup artists, and all bunch of other titles that they haven't earned or deserve. And that's, I think, a problem right now because everyone's so desperate to get work and be recognized and get free stuff that people are labeling themselves as things that they aren't. So a pro makeup artist is someone who has the technical skill to handle any makeup application, anywhere, on anyone, has the kit to back it up, has the so I said training kit, just has the confidence to be able to pretty much handle anything. No unknowns. I think that's a pro. When that happens, I don't know. For me, it took me a long, long time. I think the other thing that's important to remember too is that just like any other job, no one starts as the CEO or manager. You know, if you were working for a company and you had a 9-to-5 job, you wouldn't immediately be hired as a manager, right? So it's okay to not be super seasoned as a makeup artist. We all start somewhere. And I think what's really important is being honest about this with yourself and with your clients as to where you're at, where your capabilities are at, what you're comfortable with. And I don't think it's helpful to pad your resume or, exaggerate things in your bio. Those of us who have been doing this long enough, if you're wanting to work with other professionals who are more seasoned than you in the industry, we can see through this stuff almost immediately. We can tell when someone's saying they're a celebrity makeup artist and they're really not. We can tell when people are trying to make their bios look more impressive than they actually are. So you don't have to do all that. I think it's going to be better for your career to just accept jobs that are at your level. Yes, you want to challenge yourself, but don't get in over your head and just be honest about your experience level with people. For oil controlling primer, I have really always used the MAC and really liked it, and I have that one in my kit. I like the Smashbox one as well. That one's nice. Makeup Forever has a good one. Those are the three that I've tried and used and would probably repurchase. That is really going to depend on how intense their eczema is and kind of where they are in their flare up. Generally, I would use, depending on how intense it is, I would probably use a barrier cream like Aquaphor, like Kiehl's, something like that that's really rich in texture, and use that as a primer. And then I guess application wise, I generally tend to stick with something like Face Atelier, and I just press it on so I'm not irritating the skin. The foundation from Makeup Forever, the cream in the palettes, that's a really good one. What else have I used? I have used the Makeup Forever HD liquid, but it can be drying, so the base underneath has to be very rich. And a lot of times I have clients that have eczema that prefer to prep with their own prescription stuff and their own skincare that they like to use, and that's great for me, so I'll do that as well. I do, so depending on how hollow the under eye is, if there's hollowness right here and darkness, I would use a corrector that is complementary to the undertone of the darkness first. For hollowness, especially if it's in this area here, it's an area that is sort of recessed in the face. So to bring it forward, I may use a lighter concealer here. And then if I need to conceal in this area, I'll use something that's closer to the skin tone. So that will bring forward this recessed area, because as we know, darker shades recede things and lighter brings forward. So that's why if you're working with someone with puffy eyes, light concealer underneath is not going to do it. You want to go with a concealer that's probably 1 to 2 shades darker than their skin tone, so their eyes don't look puffy. But for hollowing eyes, for hollow under eyes, that's normally how I do it. I'll look where the most hollow area is and I'll apply a lighter concealer in that area. How I describe it would be, what you're seeing right now on my face is a natural makeup look. I'm clearly wearing makeup, but it's not the first thing you see about my face. Things look like they're supposed to be there. My foundation matches with my skin. All the work that you see me do for the most part is natural. No makeup is when the person that you're working on has to look like themselves, like the makeup is not actually visible on the skin when they're on camera or when they're in stills. So that's the difference between those two. Natural makeup is you can see makeup on the skin. We know it's there, but it's done really with a light hand, well blended, colors are right, everything looks harmonious. And then no makeup. Makeup is like literally looking like they have no makeup for camera, which I know is confusing. And then your question about are you not a natural makeup artist if you do glam looks? So as makeup artists, we have to be versatile. I know you hear me on this account saying I'm a natural makeup artist. I'm a makeup artist that does natural looks. Remember, Instagram, we have to brand ourselves. That's how I brand myself, because that's how people can make an association with my work. But if you are a I totally got cut off and I lost my train of thought. I think what I was trying to say is that when you're on social media platforms, just remember we're in marketing land. All of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm marketing. And I have marketed myself as a natural makeup artist, or a makeup artist that does natural looks, because I want to work with clients who want natural makeup applications. I want to sell my courses to artists who are looking to master natural makeup applications through the use of color theory. I also believe that when you can master a natural makeup application, because it's the hardest thing, you'll be able to do anything else after that. So that's where sort of my marketing is positioned. Does that mean I can't do glam? No, we have to be versatile and we have to be able to do different looks, but that doesn't mean that I can't do glam at all. It just means that I am trying to speak to my ideal client, whether that's a student or whether that's someone who's going to pay me to do makeup. So that's what you have to think about, but claiming you're one thing doesn't mean you can't do another.